Hello guys, Noel Cardona here. Today I want to talk about the 3 obstacles for success in any new field. I thought about giving you this lesson because it's important for you to have a high level view every time you're going to start a project. The way I see it is a battlefield map which you can use to move yourself around and bypass obstacles or overcome those obstacles that many times will stop you from actually achieving your goal. So the very first obstacle, and I would say one of the biggest ones that you face when you start on a new project, is information. Basically, you don't know how to go about making progress or where to start working on that particular field. But especially nowadays, you will find so much information, some good, some bad, but the overload of information is such that you might find good methods, you might find really bad methods that won't take you anywhere. And because of that overload of information, you need to make a decision. You're faced with 2 decisions before you even start, and this is something really critical for you to understand. So what are those 2 decisions? Well, the first one, it could be basically, do you want to become an expert in that field? Is that what you need? Or you just want a quick result? The reason these 2 decisions are important is because of the depth that you want to go into the process that you need to learn. Basically, anything to do with success in life, which will take you from A to B, will force you or will require that you learn a process. A process is basically certain steps in certain sequence. It could be 1, 2, 3, and you need to go somehow through those 3 different processes, or as many as your challenge has, in order to go from your A to B. Now, whether you want to become an expert or a quick result, it makes a big difference, because if you want to become an expert, probably you will have to learn very well each step of the process. Now, if you want a quick result, what you want to get is the information necessary to have a high-level view of this process, what entails, and then identify what I call the critical blocks. Each one of these is a block, and then each critical block is where you need to focus yourself to get that quick result in order to get from A to B a lot faster than if you decide to become an expert. So let's say you are setting up a marketing campaign. One of the critical blocks that you will find is to analyze the data from that marketing campaign, whether or not is the channel that you've chosen, the people that you've chosen, and the type of assets you've chosen actually are giving you the results that you require. Basically a positive return on investment. So as an expert, you will have to study each one of them. As a quick result, you will need a high-level view, and then you need to identify the critical blocks and then delegate the rest. So you can go a lot faster through the process of going from A to B. Now, you need to become, as I said, very good at delegation, and in terms of how to get other people to use their time for you in order to build these blocks, so you can move faster from the start to finish. That's very important. As I said, nowadays you can find information thanks to Google, thanks to the social medias, thanks to the way you can access information, ebooks. You can easily find a lot of information to learn this high-level view. But whether that's the information is the information that you require to achieve what you want, and whether you want to go in depth into that or you just want to get a quick result, that's a very important decision you need to make before you even start working on that challenge. Now, that's the first category, that's the first obstacle that you will need to deal with. Now, the second one, which is equally as big as the information challenge, which is you don't know if it's your passion, if the new field that you're going to start working on is something connected with your passion. And that's very critical to know, because in the long term it will prove whether or not you will achieve your goal, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. So in terms of your passion, a mentor of mine taught me once that the best way to know that passion is to use your joy as your compass. Use your belly as your compass. If you're going to start working on a new field and you get the information, you start studying the subject, then there's going to be a fire in your belly telling you, wow, this is amazing. I'm going to go through this fast because this is such an amazing thing to work on, to achieve on. You get on Monday to work with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, and that's where you know you're working on something that is your passion. Now, a better way to describe this for me is that your passion, a real passion, is basically connected with a need. Okay? At least for me, in my opinion, that's where the real passions come from. That's how you identify them. A need is something that comes inside, deep inside from you, something that somehow you have to do, you have to go and achieve. It's something that either you're born with, or for some reason you fall so much in love with it that there is no other option. You have to do it. You have to wake up early and do it, or you have to stay late and do it. It depends whether you're a morning person or a late person. Doesn't matter. Somehow your body, your brain, your soul is going to ask you to do it. So that's how you find your passion. Now, these passions, sometimes for the lucky people, are in front of them, and sometimes for the not so lucky, those passions are hidden very deep inside them. But the trick here is for you to keep moving, to keep trying new things until you find that real passion. Now, two things about passion. One, you can have several ones in life. You just won't have just one passion. Normally people have several passions. And your passion can change as you go through life doing different things. So something that's your passion today might not be your passion tomorrow, and that's just the way life it is, but it will always be connected with a need. Now, in your day-to-day, how do you manage to know that you have a need? Potentially, because when you observe yourself, you find that you're doing this without even thinking. When you have spare time, you actually go and start doing it on your own, either doing some sport or writing or painting or doing whatever that need takes you to do. You will find yourself almost without thinking doing it. And that's very important for you to observe yourself, to learn from yourself, and identify that passion. Now, if that passion is in line with the new subject, the new field that you want to start working on, you're very lucky, because you are going to have, and I'm going to go for this one first, you're going to have the fuel to actually go through all this process of learning, this process, these blocks, which is not a small feat. That's why it's important. Passion is the fuel, information is the method, how you get there. And as you have to go through a lot of personal growth to become an expert, or even to get a quick result of whatever you need to do, then your passion will be bigger than the pain that you will feel when you go through that. Now, the pain will come sometimes, like physical pain, but normally pain comes as your mental state, that conversation that you have inside between what I call the winner inside you and the loser inside you. That's the most common pain that I know of, because that pain, that conversation will tell you to give up. Now, when you have this need inside you, that passion will become, or will be, a lot bigger than that pain. It will be bigger than that conversation you are having, and therefore you will be able to go through all these stages. And yes, there will be times where your morale is high, times where your enthusiasm is actually very low, but as long as you keep moving and as long as you keep using this need to go ahead, the machine will keep moving. And that's what you need, that's what you learn to master. So that's info, now passion. And now what's the third obstacle? Well, at least for me, for this lesson, I've chosen the fact that many people in a new field, with all the new variables that that person needs to take to actually be able to get from A to B, most of the people, if they haven't been able to handle this properly, they quit very quickly. There is a big difference between winners, or what I call intentional winners, and losers. Intentional winners will make a decision fast and they won't change that decision easily. Losers will basically take a long time to make a decision and then will change those decisions very quickly, completely the opposite. And all this is about discipline, is about knowledge of yourself or of themselves in order to go through all this process. So that's the third obstacle. They basically quit very quickly, a lot quicker before than even the small wins, the first wins that you will get to start creating inertia through all this will start appearing. So why would they quit so fast? Well, first of all, people who don't know this process and who are facing a new field, they don't have any idea, or they don't even realize the size of the challenge. Basically, in plain English, what this means is they start the challenge, they start a project, but they have no idea or don't take the time to dimension the size of the challenge, to have a picture of how long this is going to take, how much resources this is going to take, people, money, and especially time. When you don't have a size of the challenge, a mental picture of that, the size of the challenge, of the pain that this is going to take for you to go through, then what happens is that in the very first obstacle, you are going to quit. Because basically you feel overwhelmed. You feel like a gigantic wave of water, like a tsunami is coming to you. And then what you do is you just face to the other way, and then you run. And that's what happens to most people, because when you start in a new field, when you're changing careers, or when you're doing something you've never done before, the first thing you're going to find is that wall of overwhelming information, overwhelming challenges, because you don't know the road, you don't know yourself. And this is important on any new field. You start knowing yourself in a different way, and then you quit when you realize this is too big and you don't have any support, either from yourself or from a community, which will help you realize the size of the challenge and will help you stay focused during that way. Now, the other reason why people quit, and this is actually very dangerous, why people quit fast in any new field and even in any endeavors, is because deeply inside they don't think they are worth it. So this for you, and probably you'll feel it, you have felt this at some point in your life. When you think about the size of this challenge, there is a feeling inside you telling you that you won't be able to do it, that somehow other people can do it, but you really won't be able to do it. And this conversation starts happening. Basically, it says to you, you don't have the experience, this is too difficult for you, you are not good enough to go and talk to other people and they won't help you. Your parents told you you're not good enough, your spouse keeps telling you that you won't do it, this is too difficult, it's going to take too much resources. And this is so critical for you to recognize, and it's something that not a coach, not a mentor, nobody will ever be able to point out but you, because this only comes through this gray feeling that you have inside telling you that you won't be able to achieve what you want. And that's part of the overwhelm. That's part of the loser inside you trying to convince you not to change what you're doing, because he is a lot better just doing fine the way he's doing, the loser inside you. But you need to use the winner inside you to keep you moving ahead, to keep moving over there. And the third reason and final reason why people quit very fast in a new field is that they don't know a method about how to be consistent. You know, to go through all this process, to learn yourself to not quit, it requires consistency. It requires to be working at it with discipline, with focus, avoiding distractions, realigning yourself every time, every day that you sit down or start working on this. And something I learned early in my career is that, at least for me, even though I thought I was disciplined, I thought I was using the time to work on this or that particular project, I didn't know what consistency was. I didn't know how to be disciplined about working on my projects. I didn't know how to avoid the fact that today I was working on subject A and tomorrow I was completely taken away by something else, by the next shiny object. Sometimes I would just leave it and I wouldn't work on it until I found a method and until I learned, I connected the dots to actually be able to work on this, to have clarity of the process, to get clarity of the process, and to be able to see the whole challenge through from A to B. And that's very important. You need to learn a consistency method. Discipline is not just about sitting down or just going into the activities, the execution of activities, the operational side of the process, and just do it and do it and do it. Consistency is more about with the fact that you align yourself with a final goal, and then you keep aligning yourself as you execute those tasks that you need to execute in order to get there. Otherwise, what will happen is, if this is your A and this is your B, you're going to start doing that. Basically, you go to C because you're not realigning yourself. You're doing the activities, but you're going somewhere else, and that's very important. Now, a final tip: if you want to know the best way to know or to get the high-level view of this process is to go and find 10 books. Read 10 books, hopefully from different authors on the same subject, and then what you're going to find very quickly is that this process, the one that you need to get from A to B, will have patterns, will have stages which you will see in every part of the book. For some authors it will have some additional stages, but once you recognize those patterns, once you know the average wave through which these authors actually advise to get the result that you're looking for, you will be able to trace your map, to have a look how you need to get how you need to become an expert, or how you can get a quick result depending on what you want. Those 10 books, you can read more, learn more, but those 10 books will give you, as I said, not only the high level view of the process, but also it will give you a feeling for the size of the challenge, for the pain that you need to go through it, the type of growth that you need, and hopefully you'll find some mentors in that same process. And any time you start in any new field, you will find these 3 obstacles. Obviously you'll find more, but these are the biggest ones I can think of at the moment. The information, which is the method to get where you want to be, then the passion, whether or not it's in line with what you want to achieve, that will give you the fuel to go through all the pain, and how long you maintain that decision to actually see your idea through to the very end. I hope I've given you some value today. I hope you've learned something out of this today, and I want to invite you to go to noelcardona.com so you can keep learning with me, so I can help you to become a lot stronger in terms of how you go about searching for success in any field that you want to start with. Thank you very much for your time. This is Noel Cardona. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.